Back to the show. Welcome back to the greatest show on the planet. By the way, I'm not talking about this show. I'm talking about the crypto. I'm talking about the markets, right? It's one of the most brilliant show you can ever have. And what I mean by that is a lot of you guys who have followed this channel in the last few videos and what XYZ, you probably remember me mentioning clearly that yes, the market's pumping. There's nothing wrong with the market, but we would love to see the market come and bounce around the 40K level. And seems like we are definitely going towards the 40K level because that's what we wanted to see, because that's how the charts wanted to show us that, okay, that's a good level. Now, it's not the strongest level, to be honest, right? So for us, the strongest area is around the 37K, and more stronger is the 33K, right? But just to kind of work with what we've got now, we can say 40K would be the best bounce area, right? And 40K, let me explain what 40K gives us. 40K gives us approximately from the recent high, the local high that we had around the 48,000 something, right? It actually gives us approximately about 20%. That's an important number to notice, right? That's a 20% correction, which is brilliant. Now, if we do go to 37K, that's around the 23, 24. Again, it's brilliant. This is the kind of a correction that we need for the market to reset. So please understand where I'm coming from, right? So that's what I look at. So obviously on the market, when we're looking at the total market cap and we're looking at the BTC, we see two different numbers, right? So BTC right now, and I'll give you the time and date, so that makes total sense to you guys, right? So at least that way you know what I'm talking about. So the time now is 4:24 p.m. in the UK, 4:24 p.m. in the UK. The date today is the 19th of January 2024, which is a Friday. So just to give you a little bit of reference so you understand what time this video is being recorded and what data I'm talking about. So when I'm looking at the market today, I'm seeing the entire total market cap. So the total market cap with all the coins that are being tracked right now. The market's sitting at 1.56. If you remember carefully, on the last few videos, I said 1.5 trillion is a number that I'm looking for, right? And what I mean by that, and let me explain this, right? When I'm seeing the biggest coin on the planet, BTC, right, the highest dominance coin in the market bleed out, I expect the numbers to dramatically change in the total market cap based on those numbers, right? I'm not looking at the altcoins, I'm not looking at the small caps, I'm not looking at the coins that are pumping, right? In fact, one of the fellas, he's a viewer, he invited me to Telegram today. I went to his Telegram today, and on their group, they posted something about some dildo coin, right? Brilliant name, right? Dildo. Why didn't I think of that, right? But anyway, dildo coin, it pumped like 2,000% or something while the market's dumping. Great. Listen, small cap coins or brand new listed coins can pump. Like for example, No Central. We launched this token not long ago. There hasn't been any activity. Guess what? The market's dumping. We're stagnant. We're not doing anything. We're not dumping and we're not pumping either. So that's a good thing, right? So when you start looking at this, that kind of gives you a sense of what's happening in the market. Yes, there are coins out there where people are FOMOing in, people are trading, buying and selling. Those coins will pump, right? Doesn't matter what happens, but they are only a small part of this market. They're a small part of this 1.5 trillion now, $1.55 trillion, right? So they don't make much of a difference. Of course, it's great. We all love to see profits during when the market is bloody. Definitely love to see that. So, you know, we have our plus and minus, but we can't look at those plus or those gains to judge what the entire market's doing, if that makes sense, right? So when we look at the entire market today, I'm seeing 1.55. I'm expecting it to go to at least $1.5 trillion. That's a comfortable number. Even if it drops a little bit slightly below, not too concerned, provided BTC can hold around the $40,000 level. It's going to be awesome if it holds that $40,000 level. Believe me, it's going to be one of the best zones for us to hold support and bounce off, right? Because remember, it's not a strong support zone, but if we do bounce off that, it's going to be very powerful, right? It's a continuation pattern. If we don't and we dump to 37K, which is still good, but then the market becomes a bit iffy because we have this 33 to 37K range, right? We don't want to fall into a range. Ranges aren't healthy for us because it becomes unpredictable, right? When we have a market structure and a momentum and a trend, then on that trend, it's fine. We know where we want to be and where we should bounce off. It's easier to predict and easier to say, you know, okay, we might be going and doing this and doing that. But when we fall below a certain range level and fall into a range, a support range, things get a bit messy, because then now you don't know whether you're going to bounce off that or not, or whether you can be declining even further and going down. So you see what I mean? So that's the kind of an area where I'm cautious, extra cautious. Right now, I've been cautious already. I'm not cautious at all. I'm ready to deploy, right? So looking at the BTC right now, I don't know what time it is now, a few minutes past, obviously 5 minutes past or 2 minutes past when I said, so I've started this recording 5 minutes and 40 seconds ago. But the market is sitting at $40,589. I am expecting 40K. Believe me, I am expecting 40K. Of course, if we don't get 40K today or tomorrow, I'm certainly expecting a 40K by Sunday. Or even if we don't get it, I'm expecting it next week, right? So understand where I'm coming from. This 40K is expected, right? It's imminent. It has to happen because that's what the charts want it to do, right? And when I'm talking about the charts, I'm looking at not the daily, not your 4 hourly, not your 12 hourly, not your 3 days, not your 5 days. You'll get all sorts of experts coming and throwing all sorts of days. I'm not looking at none of them. I'm sticking around with my weekly, right? Higher time frame, weekly. On the weekly, we've been overbought for a very long time. And finally, we have now come back into a comfortable zone. So where we are right now, we can bleed down a little bit more for another week or two. And the data is significant enough to show us this, which we're fine. And ideally, if we do recover from here, we're fine, by the way. This is the comfortable, this is the not overbought or not oversold area. It's a good, comfortable buy area, right? So now that I see the market here, we have rested. Everybody that needed to take profits have taken their profits, and those profits are going to be deployed again for us to move forward, right? So you see what I mean? So it's all about rinse and repeat. You make money, you take money, right? If you're going to make money and you're going to see hundreds of percents of gains, thousands of percents of gain, but you're not cashing out, well, you're doing it all wrong, mate. You're doing it all wrong. You've got to cash out, right? So those of you who have watched the videos from like when I've posted it recently, the last few videos, you will definitely know that I've mentioned to you guys that how I've been kind of staying on USDT and USDC just because I understand that the market is going to come down and I want to be ready to pick up those, because I'm not too crazy about what the market's doing now, because I've made my gains, right? Does that make sense, right? It was all about how much money I could make, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever, right? And I was doing some of those on every single other day. So for me, I was comfortable, I was happy. I said, right, okay, I've put my initial in, I've taken my initial out, plus I've made some as well. Now the market could go to the moon. I don't really care because I'm expecting a recovery. I'm expecting a correction. And then from that correction, I want to play recovery, right? So that's what I want to do, because I want to always pick up where the smart money picks up, right? Because I'm part of that group as well, that mindset, if that makes any sense, right? So, you know, patience pays off, right? And for me, patience has paid off. Now, knowing the market may come to 40K, am I going to go all in? No, I'm not, right? Understand this, because what you have to understand, go back to the beginning of the video, you'll understand what I said, right? 40K is a level that we want the perfect bounce to be. That's a trend, all right? That's a bounce on a trend, which is fantastic. 40K, fantastic bounce on a trend. However, if we break the trend, then we're going to 37K, all right? And 37K to 33K is a range. Now, when I fall into a range and I have no idea what the market's going to do I want to risk my funds? Absolutely not. That's the most stupid thing I could ever do, right? So I'm not going to play the range as hard as I would play the bounce, if that makes sense, right? So I'm going to look at the bounce, I'm going to have a look at it, I'm going to move into the smaller time frames. If I am going to trade, and I'm going to make sure I'm in front of my computer when I do this, all right? And I'll trade this and I'll buy this. Even if I do spot, it doesn't matter, right? So that's something I want to do while I'm observing the market. I'm not going to just jump in blind, right? However, when it comes to the range, I will put a kind of a limit order, right, to pick up something around the 33K. So if I miss it, it's fine. I'm not too concerned about it, but that's where I want to put it, because worst case scenario, if we do fail the range, or if we do start testing that baseline, that bottom level of that range, right? I want to be able to pick up some, because that's where I want to be picking. Now, if I do pick up anything from there, I'm not expecting any major move upward immediately, right? So I'm not expecting a bounce. Understand this. I'm expecting volatility around the area, and I will obviously observe, and I will have my stop losses, and I will have all of the things set up. And I'm going to probably say, like, okay, I'm willing to lose 5%. But on the upside, if I am moving up, I'm going to put a trailing stop, because I also want to make as much as possible. So if the market's going down, I want to exit. If the market's going up and the volatility kicks in, I want to be able to make the most of that volatility, right? Again, I'm not advising anybody. I'm not telling anyone to go and do any of this stuff. This is not a financial advice, but it's just what the market is showing. So just pure education. I'm just telling you what the market is telling me, right? I mean, when I'm looking at the market, I can see 1.55 trillion, BTC up $40,496, and it's bleeding. It's bleeding as we speak, right? So look, it's playing out. It's playing out. As I said, if the candle doesn't close today, we still expect it to close at least by Sunday, right? Week close. Because remember, I'm working on the weekly candles, right? And of course, I have other data as well, which actually is a little bit more freaky, right? So here's a fun fact, right? If you flip over to the 2 weekly candle, you will realize that the last 2 weeks candle was bearish, right? So that was the bloody candle. Then we have this week's candle, which is also bearish. However, it's kind of like undecided, if that makes any sense, right? Now, like practically and logically, I'm expecting this week to dump, and then next week probably to dump as well, and hopefully this 2 weekly candle closes on a red. Now, that's a good thing. Let me explain this to you, right? This is quite funny. It's a good thing. If it closes on a red, then I'm guarantee you that the next one we're expecting is going to be the, what do you call this? It's a green candle, right? So it's all about reds and greens, this equilibrium. You cannot have something going green. Remember, we were green for too long. So now that we got a red, I'm happy. Remember, guys, I'm always excited when I see red, right? Red candles are buy days. Red candles are when you buy, right? So this is not a moment to buy the dip. That's all I'm going to say. However, on some altcoins, this is a funny one. On the altcoins, it is a buy the dip opportunity, because when the market resets, things are going to reset very fast, right? As long as we are still in a bull market, which we are, by the way, the bull market does not cancel until we go to like 25K, right? So understand where I'm coming from. It does not cancel until we're like 25K, 24K, something like this, right? So we're still in a bull market trend. For that reason, I'm saying that anything could still happen, especially with the alts, because what we'll see is BTC is going to bleed the crap out of itself, right? Once it's completely done, we're going to start seeing momentum come back into BTC, obviously, depending where it goes. But at the same time, we're going to see bigger moves in altcoins, because that's where people are going to be making money. Right now, people are going to be making money in altcoins, because what they're going to do is they're going to shift everything into altcoins, right? Because you're buying cheaper altcoins, right? And then what they're going to do, they're going to flip those altcoin profits into BTC and cash out in BTC later on, right? That's what's going to happen. People don't care about USDC, USDT, and this and that, right? Except people like myself, who's kind of stupid at some stages, but there's a method in my madness, right? For me, sitting on USDC and USDT, I have a method in that. I just wanted to stay in something that is stable, right? Because I don't want to risk anything. I wanted to stay in something stable. And I've mentioned many times, guys, on this particular season, I talked about it. I said, look, last season, I was all in. This season, I'm not all in. This season, I've got a lot of investments, a lot of things I'm working on, a lot of funds I require, left, right, and center, a lot of projects I'm working on, right? And I'm funding a lot of things. So technically, I'm kind of broke, right? So for that reason, the liquid capital that I have, I can't afford to lose it. I can afford to make more, which is what I intend to do. That's why I'm playing extra cautiously, right? And I've also mentioned this as well. I said, guys, even if the market leaves me, right? Even if BTC goes to 100K, 200K, it doesn't make any difference to me, right? I could jump into the market when I'm comfortable to to lose all my money and do it exactly like whatever price it is. Does that make sense? Because when you're trading, when you're doing risk markets, right, you should have one logical rule set up, right? And that is you should be able to lose everything that you invest, right? And I've talked about this so many times. When you press that button, remember, you have to assume you have lost everything until you exit, right? So the only time you're in profit is when you've exited everything. The only time you've broken even is when you've taken the money you've invested or the crypto you invest, taken that out. That's when you've broken even, or that's when you've basically taken profit, right? But as long as it's still there, it doesn't matter even if you have 10,000% profit. 10,000, you're not in profit, mate. You haven't cashed out, right? So understand this, right? Your profit is when you cash out, not before that. Just because your balance is showing 100K, 200K, 300K doesn't make any difference, or 10K, 20K, whatever you got, right? It doesn't make any difference, right? Until you cash out whatever you've made, you're not in profit, full stop, right? So you have to assume loss. So that's why I'm saying, for me, the way I'm playing it is quite different. I'm like, okay, this season, I want to stay careful. I want to play with a very small portfolio. I don't want to play with a heavy portfolio, to the point where I've even considered probably just buying these new meme coins and whatnot, probably buy $10 worth, right? $20 worth, why not, right? Because I want to build capital this season. I don't want to be risking any capital, if that makes any sense, because I've got a lot of use for the capital that I have, all right? A lot of use planned, right? Which may benefit and not benefit, which may, come back and filter down to the community at some stage. I don't know, but it's all work in progress, right? You're constantly doing something, you're constantly developing something, you're constantly building on something. It's the entrepreneurship that I have, that mindset I have, that I got to build something, I got to do something, I've got to come up with a new idea. And if that means burning some money, I'll burn some money. That's what I'm doing, right? And of course, when I'm saying it might come back to the community, I'm saying, well, if I then switch it and make it into something that could benefit the community, I don't see a reason why not. I'll bring it on, right? So that's what I'm saying, guys. Just listen, whatever strategy I've got, you don't need to follow that. Don't even follow that. I suggest anyone to follow that. Remember, guys, I've been very adamant, and I've said this to you guys many, many times. Do not follow any social media influencers, myself or anybody. I don't even consider myself an influencer, but do not follow anybody or whatever their strategies. You have to be able to manage your own risk. Don't go by what somebody else says. If I turn around and say tomorrow BTC is going to flip and we're going to go to 100K, don't jump on that. That's the worst thing you could do, right? Only invest money you could afford to lose, right? And remember, this is not any financial advice. Your money, do whatever you're going to do, go and burn it by all means, right? I'm never going to advise you on any of this stuff. So yeah, that's what's going on. Listen, I'm not too concerned. Now, there are some, as I said, altcoins. There are some altcoins I still have my eye on, right? I do have my eyes on them. And coincidentally, I'll tell you this, right? I've noticed something, like some blockchain projects that I'm looking at, or any blockchain projects, right? So I am eyeing up some blockchain projects which I would love to go and pick up. They are bleeding out right now. I do hold some. I've just recently bought some, so I am at a loss. However, I do want to double down on them. So now that I see the prices at a decent price, I'm like, oh, hold on, the market's come back to where I want them to be. I need to pick up some of this, right? And make the most of it. So that's what I'm going to do with those ones. Now, just to kind of finish off, let me give you a little bit of update on our project, Node Central. So far, liquidity pool, this, that, whatever, I've done all the testing, guys. Everything is great, right? We've got all of those sorted. I'm going to do the airdrop very soon. I'm going to announce the actual date of the airdrop so everyone will receive it on the same day. And then I'm going to announce new promotions and marketing, whatever. But in the meantime, the only good thing we have is I've given the website to the developer, and he's hard coding it. So he's going to hard code it for me. So that way, when it's time, we're going to be deploying it straight over to what do you call this? The IPFS. So that way it's there forever, right? So we're going to do something crazy like that, but it's not going to be the entire website. It's going to be parts of the website, right? there are some parts very important that need to be on the IPFS. That's what we're going to be doing. So just bear with me. You're going to see some great updates coming. I've given him complete freedom to do whatever he needs to do. So I said, look, you guys are the developers. You guys know how to build the website. Here's the assets. Roll with it, right? Just roll with it. So I'm giving you the design concept, the theme that I want to see or how I want to see it, but remainder is up to you. Go and do whatever you need to do. So they're doing that right now, right? And they're pretty excited as well. Obviously, we're doing this on a very low budget. Reason being is because we didn't go and ask for investors to go and give us a couple of $1 million, or, you know, hedge funds and VCs to give us $100 million. We didn't ask for none of that, guys, right? So that's one thing you gotta respect and understand, that everything we're doing, we're putting in our own blood and sweat or our own money, right? And I hope people appreciate this, and I hope people support this so we can take this further. And also, talking about this, there are other programs and projects we're working on. One of the projects we're working on, it's a real world project, but it is related to crypto. I won't say too much about that, but it's not on the same blockchain. That's a whole different project we're working on. In fact, I'm working with somebody else, but I am kind of one of the founders of the project. But we're not going to disclose too much right now because I don't want to overwhelm everybody with what we're doing. I am like involved with many different projects, many groups of people and this and that. Sometimes they come to me for advice. Sometimes they come to me, you know, just for a bit of consulting. And sometimes I get the benefit of being the guy who plans and designs, right? So it's you know, I'm quite happy with that. And there's been many projects I've done in the past. I've mentioned it on my videos before as well. Some of them I'm okay to take a little bit of money for. Some of them I'm okay to continue. Most of them I don't stick around, honestly. I just do my bit and I just go away because I can see what the model is. But this particular new project that I'm kind of involved with, I'm not just the advisor, I'm actually part of the designer, right? So what that means is the tokenomics behind it, the design concept behind it, in how it actually works with the real world technology or real world use case, because people will be using this technology for pretty much their everyday life, right? Everyday life, and also be interconnected to the crypto or the blockchain as well. So that's going to be something interesting. It's a challenge, especially for a person like me. Remember, I'm not a coder, guys. I don't code, right? Most of the stuff that I use are open source, right? Open Zeppelin, you know, Ethereum code base and GitHub and whatnot, right? So I'm not a coder, right? Hence why I didn't even develop the website, right? Because it's easy to develop the website on WordPress, but I can't use WordPress, right? I have to make sure that it's done via hard coding so we can get it all nice and, you know, make it go up and stay in the what do you call this, IPFS and XYZ. Anyway, enough talk of that, right? Just wanted to give you a little hint on what's about to come. So being part of the community, guys, is going to be beneficial. Again, no financial advice, none of that business. We're not asking anybody to invest anything or pay anything, none of that business, right? But if you are part of the community, like the Discord servers and XYZ or the Telegram group and XYZ, right, you will be notified of any upcoming projects and whatever we do, right? Because you never know. There's a whole bunch of projects I'm working on, right? With, as I said, with multiple parties, some myself, like Low Central is my own. There are others that I'm working on as well, consulting, advising, XYZ. You never know what information I'm going to drop for which one, right? Because I believe that all of these projects have the potential to make it, right? And none of them have the potential to make it as well, right? So if I think that it's not going to make it, or if I think something doesn't work out right, I won't promote it. Do you know what I mean? I won't talk about it. You know me very well. I don't diss coins. I don't care what people do. And I don't shill projects, right? Unless I believe in it, right? So here's a project I do believe in. I believe in my own project, obviously, even though I launched it in a particular way, but I do believe in my project because I thought, okay, fine, I've done it. I want to build on it. So now I'm building on it. There are a few things that I'm not happy with, right? But what it's done is done. Now it doesn't matter. You don't, you know, cry over spilt milk. It's gone, right? So carry on and just get yourself another pot of milk, right? That's what's going to happen. So there are multiple things, as I said, I'm working on. and things should get interesting at some stage. But other than that, let's talk about the market again. Just before I go, $1.54 trillion, BTC sitting at $40,389. Ethereum's holding pretty well, actually. I'll be honest with you, Ethereum's holding pretty well, $2,400. I'm not concerned. That's a good sign. All other coins have been bleeding hard. For example, Solana has bled 6.5%. Say has bled today another 10%. It bled last night as well. eGold has bled. I've lost a bit of money on that one. DOT is bleeding. Sui is bleeding. Aptos, everyone's pretty much the same, right? So BTC has done another 2% today, and everything else is dumping. So imagine what happens. So this is the kind of a moment that you got to come to your realization and say, right, it makes sense sometimes to have a portfolio where you are pretty balanced with cash as well. You need cash flow. That's what I've been going on about for a very long time. That guys, you need cash flow. Without cash flow, you're nothing, right? You can make thousands of percent, millions of percents of profit. But if you don't take your initial investment out, or even some of your profit out, first of all, you don't have dry powder to go back in again. And if you didn't take a little bit of profit, you won't enjoy it, right? You're going to make it, and you're going to be the same person who's going to go and say, oh, you know what? Your $100 became $10,000, and you're going to say, oh, I lost $10,000. No, you didn't lose $10,000. You lost $100, but you didn't cash out $10,000. That's what you lost, right? Always cash out. Always cash out. Remember, there's nothing wrong with cashing out. Right, you're in it to make the money, and get the fuck out, full stop, right? So other than that, guys, I'm not going to make this any longer. Thank you very much if you have watched it to the end. Please put hashtag no or $no in the comments, so I'll know that you have watched it to the end. But other than that, I've said enough. I hope you guys have a good one, and we're coming to the point where we might actually be buying some fresh BTC. Let's see, right? But I'll keep you guys updated if I see the market change. This is one of the reasons why I didn't do another video recently as well. I said, let the market do what it is. We said what we want to see. We know what we want to see. Let's just wait for that to come, then we'll drop something, because there's no point just coming on every day and guys, I'm not here for the views, right? And in fact, my views have dropped as well. Not that it makes any difference to me. Those who watch it will benefit. Those who don't, they'll come back to me a year later. Oh, you said this. No. That's an old video. This is now. So yeah, other than that, like, share, subscribe. I'll catch you on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos.